Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel and to part 7 of rebuilding the Discovery. So I don't normally do introductions, however I feel as though I've been away for such a long time now I owe you guys a bit of an explanation. You guys will know that I've been running on borrowed time at the unit for quite a while now, and unfortunately my time is pretty much up here. And to cut a long story short, I will hopefully be taking over the rent on this unit, so hopefully I won't lose it. So with that in mind, I have been prioritising my time by actually doing the work on the Discovery rather than editing the videos together. So I do apologise it's been such a long time since the last video, but that's kind of what's been going on. I will be doing a channel update as well and / a bit of a Q&A, so if you guys have any burning questions, feel free to drop a comment below and we can catch up on that video. And that will include things like my job at Aston that I've been at for over a year now, and just other things about life really. But anyway, I won't bore you with that now. Here is part 7. I really hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you very soon. Stitching the bracket onto the light pod. So once that is done, the light pod is then complete and it'll just need a lick of paint then. And a quick look around at other jobs to do. So this front chassis leg, which I've already cut the front off of. I think I was cutting out rot from the light pod and I just decided to lob the front of that chassis leg off because it was hulled and needed replacing anyway, so I just thought I'd get rid of it and it's just ready to have a new patch put on. And this is the light pod now complete and I am quite happy with the outcome. It's much more solid than it was when I first started, so that is one small section complete. Now onto the passenger side footwell and part of the wing. Using a slitting disc on the angle grinder to create a rectangle that can be easily made into a patch. So you may remember this clip from last time. I thought I'd add it in again just to show how bad that wing was. So previously we removed the outer aluminium panel to expose the inner shell. Jamie drilled out the spot welds and we removed that support beam from the wing. And then we worked on removing some of that rot. Time to repair the wing. Starting with this patch as it was just completely rotten here. A quick look into the footwell as that was now ready for its patch. So unfortunately I did lose the footage for creating this floor patch, but all I did was just create a rectangle and just welded that in place. Then with a flap disc on the grinder, I just went over that area to ensure it was flush. Back onto the wing now. So that piece is now welded in, and I have also cut a rectangle out of the sheet steel and welded that patch in as well. So this is just the area under where that support beam would go. Now to finish the passenger side sill, it is just so much easier with two people, so one person holding the sill end cap in place and the other person tacking in, so that's all that we did. Once that is in place, we tacked in the support bracket, so this is just a really good way of seeing how square everything is, so your sill and your floor and how well they're meeting up. So I was quite happy with how this was looking at the moment, so I went ahead and tacked it in place. And then once that was complete, moving on to the rear quarter. This is another common rot place on these early Discoveries. Water gets just trapped down here and eventually just completely rots it out if you don't catch it in time. So I cut this piece using the angle grinder of a slitting disc as usual and the Dremel, and as simple as that and it's out. To be honest, it wasn't actually that bad. The Dremel made my life a lot easier, so it's not a horrific task. I am going to try and replicate these contours. I don't think it's that mission critical if I don't, with it just being this lower section, but I'm going to try and replicate them anyway. So all I did was draw around that old piece, just using it as a template, and cut it out with the slitting disc as usual. And now bending the bottom, which will then connect to the floor. I might have mentioned in another video, but in case you're wondering, I just use 1.5mm thick sheet steel for the patches on the body and 0.6 wire. And these are just the preset settings on my welder. Just makes my life a lot easier. The first tacks are in. You might be able to see where I scored along to create the contoured section. This is all just like trial and error. Okay, this is an example of a tack that went poorly. Purely my fault. I just forgot to take off that sound deadening like a silly sod. So this is the area now cleaned up. I just used a wooden handled scraper, a chisel, and just chipped away, and then used the flap disc on the angle grinder. So time for take 2 and hopefully some better tacks now, and I won't be making that mistake again. Building up some tacks and short weld runs, it's not the prettiest, but they are strong. The metal is not the cleanest in this area despite preparation, it's still a little bit rusty. And we are in, and this is my attempt at creating the contour. I'm quite happy with the outcome, to be honest. You can see that inner part now. And I will be removing and replacing that sound deadening. I just removed what I had to get these sections that I was welding complete for now. So in part 6 I showed how I created one of the patches that will be welded in where that second row of doors usually go. So picking up from where I last left off, I am creating another patch that will tie the sill in with the floor / that second row. This is going to be known as patch 3 later on in the video. You'll see what I mean in just a moment. So starting to tack that in place now. This is patch 3 that I was talking about just a little bit earlier, which is all that was left of this bottom area. So it wasn't actually connected to the sill as it should have been anymore. So that's why I had to sort of use my imagination whilst making this patch. And you'll recognise patch 1 from the last video. Here they are side by side. So this was a really good template to just draw around because there was nothing missing from this patch. Now patch 1 is in place, I'm just using a hammer to delicately tap patch 3 to meet patch 1. So I just used the chipping side of the hammer as I wanted to make some very small, precise adjustments. You can see from this shot just how the tacks penetrate and join the pieces of metal together. And this is what I'm looking for when welding to ensure that they are strong. Tacked in place now and some very short beads were run, just slowly building it up in this area because it could easily distort with the amount of heat that's there. So again, just slowly building that section up. I think it's coming along quite nicely, and this area will need adjusting further when it comes to connecting the new pieces, especially where that arch and sill backing section is. You'll see in a moment what I mean. And this is what the inside looks like once the welding is complete. And here is the arch / the back of the sill, which I will be tackling in a future video. That was a bit of a nightmare to separate, so I can't wait to take you along that process with me. Here's a piece from the wheel arch now cut out. Rotten and hulled, just like the majority of this discovery, nothing new here. Creating the piece to replace it, and adding the one hole which it was meant to have onto the new piece. Now it is tacked in place and I am just building up the tacks. And because this area will be seen, I used a flap disc on the grinder to grind the welds back down flush. And that is everything today, so I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm going to keep drip feeding shorter videos because I just feel like it'll probably work better, and hopefully I won't lose any more footage that way if I'm doing it in short little bursts. But anyway, I really hope you have enjoyed the video, and I will see you again next time.